It's no secret I like to write about big questions. I've written about the origin of Christianity, the battle between science and religion, and the destiny of our species. But I've always believed that the biggest question of all relates to human consciousness, that lens through which we all experience our world and our reality. Now, I've wanted to write about consciousness and the mind for over a decade now, and the challenge has been how to wrestle such an ethereal topic into a page-turning thriller. Well, it took a while, but I figured out how to do it, and I think readers will find The Secret of Secrets to be my most entertaining book yet. Beyond all the cutting-edge scientific revelations, all of which are real, by the way, the book is a chase, a love story, and an adventure. My hope is that readers learn a lot along the way, but are having so much fun they don't even notice. Noetic science, in fundamental terms, is the study of consciousness, intuition, and the mind's potential to affect the physical world. The term comes from the Greek word noetikos, which means mind or perception, and the field explores mysterious phenomena like telepathy, out-of-body experiences, and different forms of extrasensory perception. It might include analyses of near-death experiences, sudden savant syndrome, or instances of precognition, that is, someone knowing something before it has occurred. I should tell you that I began researching this novel as a total skeptic of all things paranormal, and I must admit, I've come out the other side with a slightly different mindset. I personally believe that the human race, thanks in large part to particle physics and noetic science, is on the verge of a paradigm-altering discovery that will entirely shift our understanding of the human mind and, incredibly, of reality itself. I've always known when I finally wrote about human consciousness that the book would have to be set in Prague. Beyond being a spectacularly beautiful and dramatic location, Prague has long been Europe's nexus of mysticism, alchemy, and esoteric thinking. In the 16th century, under Emperor Rudolf II, a mystic himself, Prague became a magnet for astrologers, alchemists, Kabbalists, and the city developed a reputation as the magical capital of Europe. And anyone who has been in this city knows the architecture feels mystical. Gothic spires, astronomical clocks, narrow streets winding into deep labyrinths. To this day, Prague has an enduring aura as a mysterious location, and that reputation and history plays very directly into The Secret of Secrets. Well, I don't want to spoil the surprise, but yes, one of the characters in the novel sees himself as the reincarnation of a famous mythical figure from Prague's history. This character has an unusual mindset. He is extremely dangerous and yet deeply compassionate. That's all I'm going to tell you. You'll just have to wait and find out who he is. But I will tell you, he's a lot of fun. For those who have read the other Langdon books, you know that Robert Langdon has been a lifelong bachelor. And in each story, he very conveniently meets a brilliant and beautiful woman who happens to possess the exact skill set Langdon requires to solve his mystery. She may be a cryptologist, an historian, a noetic scientist. In The Secret of Secrets, however, the situation is a little bit different. The story opens with Langdon waking up in bed beside a woman with whom he has just started a budding romance. She is, in fact, a woman from his past, Catherine Solomon, a noetic scientist whom we first met in The Lost Symbol. I can't tell you much else, but I can tell you that in this book, Langdon is very much in love, and we get to see a side of him that we've never seen before. I'm thrilled about the Netflix adaptation. I'm working with the incredible producer Carlton Cuse, who did Lost, Jack Ryan, and many other hit shows. Everyone at Netflix and on the writing team is very excited. We're planning to adapt The Secret of Secrets into an 8-episode miniseries, which will remain as faithful as possible to the story, which of course will make readers and me very happy. We'll be filming in Prague next year, and I can't wait. Thanks. Well, we were filming the Da Vinci Code inside the Louvre at about 3 a.m. We filmed while the tourists were gone. In between scenes, I took a walk through the barely lit museum, and I found myself all alone in front of the Mona Lisa. And as if that weren't enough of a life moment, just then, outside in the Grand Gallery, an albino monk walked by. Well, that title would have to be Man's Search for Meaning. Obviously, my journey has in no way compared to the brutal challenges faced by that book's author, Viktor Frankl, but as a title, Man's Search for Meaning pretty much sums up why I've written the Robert Langdon series, as an attempt to explore some of the big questions about the meaning of life. Well, my favorite writers would have to be Joseph Campbell for unveiling hidden truths and for helping us understand the world of symbols. Probably Shakespeare for his unmatched skills and his clever wordplay. And of course, Robert Ludlum for showing us how exciting it can be to read a high-stakes international thriller. And I'll just add John Grisham for his prolificacy and also just for being a nice guy. Well, I've researched some pretty unusual topics: antimatter, Vatican secrets, the bloodline of Christ, vector viruses, artificial intelligence, and on and on. But I would have to say the strangest topic of all has to be what I just spent 6 years working on for The Secret of Secrets, and that is human consciousness. I began research of this book as a total skeptic about phenomena like out-of-body experiences, ESP, precognition, but I have to say that I've come out the other side with a much different point of view. Well, I don't know how unusual it is, but I do have an antique hourglass on my desk, and every hour when the sand runs out, I stop writing and I do push-ups or sit-ups or stretch or something to keep the blood moving. Part of me believes you write a better thriller if your heart is pounding a bit. Well, the first thing I do after finishing a draft is I rewrite it, and then I rewrite it again, and then probably I rewrite it again. I don't tend to show anything to my editor, Jason Kaufman, until I feel that it is no longer a draft, that I'm entirely happy with it. Of course, fresh editorial eyes bring fresh perspective, and Jason will have all kinds of observations and ideas, which invariably means I'll do some more rewriting before considering anything finished. Well, my characters would probably tell me that I had just painstakingly edited their dialogue 37 times and ended up pretty much right where I started. Well, actually, my favorite word to write is 2 words: the end.